What is the next craze in cycling training? What's up, everybody? This is Brendan Hauser with Evoke Bike, and I'm here to post a video questioning what's the next craze. It seems like if you look over the past 8 to 10 years, there's always something that comes into vogue because there's research behind it, which is really awesome that endurance sports are getting more research involved. But people find a little bit of benefit from something and then we become obsessed with it and we have to be doing it all of the time. The research and endurance sports, it's so young. Training with power, so young. When you look at the big picture, we're learning all these new training techniques all the time. But the thing that I've noticed is we find something that works and then it has to be like a plan based around it. When you look back, let's talk about these Tabata intervals. Those aren't new, but 10 years ago, in cycling at least, and maybe it was when I had really started training formally on plans, people found out that you could improve your VO2 max if you did these short microbursts. And everything was 2-to-1 ratio, work to rest. So people are doing them all the time. You quickly learn that you burn out from that pretty quickly. And now there's a study that shows that actually your maximal aerobic power, the actual power, not the physiological system, is better trained by doing a classic 3 to 8 minute interval. Consistency is going to be my number one pillar when I come out with my methodology. So you should always ask yourself, can I consistently do this? You can't consistently do Tabata intervals. And also, it's not event specific, which is going to be a different pillar. I have never been in a race where I have gassed it 30 seconds and coasted 15. Gassed it and coasted. Gassed it and coasted. The only time anything like that is if you're in a crit and you're in the washing machine in the back, which means you're not really racing. Okay, that means you're just not strong enough to actually be in the race. So you're training yourself to not be doing well. Okay, so Tabata intervals, those were the craze. You've all heard my sweet spot craze. I was back. I was a Fast Cat athlete. Even Fast Cat replied awesomely to my post on Instagram about it. They do not want you doing sweet spot for 4 months at a time or 3 months at a time. I think they said they have a 12-week plan. I'd have to go back and look. But people beat that to death. They found some gain. They found a little FTP bump. So if I do it twice, I should do it 4 times a week. And if I do it 2 months, I should do it 4 months. And we've all seen those people that are on a sweet spot plan, they go to a race off the back. Okay, so that was the craze. Keto 2 years ago, because Team Sky was all doing the keto diet and they were on ketosis. And, they're not eating carbs anymore because I'm utilizing fat better. There are things that you can do to your body to utilize more fat. But when people went keto, I raced against 3 people that were keto. They were metabolizing off the back. And you need carbs to race a bike. Is it something that you can consistently do? Yes, there are people on a ketone-based diet, I guess you would call it. I'm not a fan of that because it's just overly focused on not moderation. And I just can't buy into that diet. But that's fine. Polarized Training, that one came, and I would say the way Seiler proposed it is not very common anymore. And even he in the Velo News podcast, the second or third one he was on, he said that he had created it so that amateurs would stop hammering too often and that after you got your training dialed in, you could graduate back to a 5-zone system. He said that. So I think there's the thing that I put in my blog that I liked about the craze was it helped to highlight that you need to make the hard sessions very hard and the easier sessions easy. But it does not mean zone 1 and zone 6 only. I'm going to make a video that tempo is not no man's land. That was, maybe 6 or 7 years ago, everybody said that, tempo is no man's land. Tempo's no man. No, tempo is a great way to build aerobic fitness. Look back at some long road races or gravel races. There's a lot of tempo in there, so it is event specific. So polarized was the craze. That came and went pretty quickly. Fasted training, intermittent fasting. There's definitely biological benefits to it. There's people lose weight doing that, which is great. but a lot of other people use it for this metabolizing fat more effectively for your riding. The one thing that I'm going to question about fasted training, if it's applicable to you, is since you need 24 to 48 hours to totally restore your glycogen stores, you really need to be doing the fasted training at the right time, because if you do it too close to a hard session, you might not be totally topped off, which then is going to affect your next hard session, which means you're not really pushing the envelope as hard as you could. And when you really look big picture, if you're an amateur bike racer like myself, if you're not doing events that are longer than 3 or 4 hours, is the benefit of metabolizing fat more effectively as beneficial as having higher wattages on these hard workout days? So you can't do everything. Just because there's something that's good for training or good for the body, you have to ask yourself, does it apply to your event, to you as an athlete? Athlete-specific stuff. Dylan Johnson had a cool video about block periodization, so I'm sure we'll be reading in the forums about everyone doing block periodization right now. That's going to be the new craze. Smash yourself for a week. Go easier for 3 weeks was the quick and dirty overview. I think we're going to get some people cracking, some people not even cracking. I think cracking is such like it cracked. But more just like what Tim Cusick calls non-functional overreaching. You're not going to absorb the training. You're not going to reap the benefits as you might expect to. And instead, you would be much better off following a progressive plan, having 6 to 8 solid workouts, and then make that your block periodization. Do 3 hard workouts and 3 hard workouts. After 6 to 8, they say that you don't even absorb as much as you do in the initial first workouts. So those are the most important. So block periodization is now, there's a really good quote in this book that I talked about earlier from David Ogilvy, big marketer. And he said, I notice increasing reluctance on the part of the marketing executive to use judgment. They are coming to rely too much on research, and they use it as a drunkard uses a lamppost for support rather than for illumination. I think it's so perfect for this type of situation. If you find something that works for you, ask yourself how you can insert it into your plan, not have it take over your plan. Don't totally lean on it for full support. Sure, you could use Tabata intervals if you're someone that doesn't really do well in classic VO2 max workouts. That's a workout. Yes, sweet spot has a place, because let's remember what it is. It's low threshold. You can use that to help you increase your FTP, but it should not be a total plan. Ketosis, I'm not a fan of this, but I would say understanding that you can use diets to your benefit at particular times of the season maybe. And I say maybe because we are very focused on carbs, Patrick and I, because it is what fuels the bike, but we also eat a wide variety diet, which is really important. Polarization, I already mentioned the good point about that. Fasted training, if it's going to help you lose weight, that might be a big goal for you. Go for it, but don't have it affect the hard sessions that you're going to do. Block periodization, is it applicable to you? I would say just watch that video because I made a whole post about that. Really, we don't need more crazes in cycling. We need something that you consistently can do, that you can progress through, that's very specific to your event. I just had a guy from Ireland reach out to me, and he's starting up as an athlete, and we're talking about a big event coming up for him that's going to be in March. And we're looking at the course, and we're looking at what he's good at, what he's not good at, how has he previously performed. There's a climb in there that is, you might say, oh, this is a 30-minute climb, but when you break it down into pieces, it's actually there's a lot of short, surgy sections of the climb, so it's not an FTP type. So make sure you're looking at what the event's going to demand of you. So let's not get obsessed with these crazes. Let's find something that we can consistently do, that we can progress through, that's very athlete and event specific. And we'll talk more about this type of methodology. It's going to be very basic, but it's not going to be overly obsessed on one thing. Have variation. So thanks so much for watching. If you have gotten this far, please subscribe to the channel. We're trying to get to 2,000 subscribers. If you really like the video, share it with a friend, post it on social media. Any type of shout out really helps us. And I'm going to make the next video on kind of why all this free content exists. It came in as a couple Cat 4 questions. And I don't know, maybe we haven't fully explained what Evoke Bike is, but I'll do that in the next one. And thanks again for watching. Talk to you soon. See ya.